सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्तिः पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरुर्कृपा. Harihi Om. I request Guruji to speak about Atma Bodha.
Om. Welcome everyone. We are studying this Atma Bodha text for the last few months, and presently we have come up to 46 verses. Today will be the 47 and 48 verses we have to do. Let us read 45 and 46 once, recap them, and then we would go for the 47 and 48. So I'm just projecting you the 45 verse. Sthanau purushavad bhrantya krita brahmani jivata jivasya tatvike rupe tasmin drishte nivartate. The Brahman appears to be the Jiva because of ajnana or ignorance, just as a post in dim light is mistaken for a ghost. The egocentric individuality is destroyed when the real nature of the Jiva is realized. Just like when you have good light and see the post, there is no confusion about the ghost. That's right. Okay, let's go to the 46th verse. Tattvasvarupānubhavād utpannam jnanamanjasa aham mameti cha ajnanam bādhate digbrahmādivat. Tattvasvarupānubhavāt utpannam jnanamanjasa aham mameti cha ajnanam bādhate digbrahmādivat. The ignorance characterized by the notions of I and mine is destroyed by the knowledge produced by the realization of the true nature of the self, the Chaitanya in you. Just as right information removes the wrong notion about the directions. Suppose you are confused in a place about the direction. If you get a right information from the right person, you will know the directions. Like that, when you know the Atma Jnana, the notions of confusing notions of I and me are no more there. Okay, let us look at today's verse 47. Samyajnanavan yogi svatmanyevakilam jagat yekancha sarvamatmanam ikshate jnanachakshusha. Beautiful word, jnanachakshusha, the vision of jnana. It is not the physical vision of your eye, it is the jnana drishti, jnana chakshusha, jnana vision. Once you develop that, the entire sadhana we are doing, all the scriptures are to develop that inner vision or the jnana chakshusha. Who develops it? Samyak jnanavan yogi. The one who has got the samyak jnana, that yogi, that person who understood he is the Atma or the Chaitanya himself, Svatmanyeva akhilam jagat Ikshate. He sees everything in him, and everywhere he sees himself. Swatmanyeva akhilam jagat ekam cha sarvamatmanamikshate. Same thing is said in Bhagavad Gita also. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini sunichaiva swapake cha panditah samadarsinah सम्यक् ज्ञानान् योगी स्वात्मन्येव अखिलं जगत् एकं च सर्वमात्मानम् ईक्षते ज्ञानचक्षुषा. The yogi of perfect realization, that means the enlightened individual, the sthita prajna, the atma jnani, with the eye of enlightenment, with the eye of wisdom. Because of the enlightenment, jnana chakshusha, the entire universe is seen in him, and he sees himself in every small thing in the universe, right from a blade of grass to that Hiranyagarbha Brahma. Everything is he himself, everything is in himself. Matah parataram na anyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. Oh my dear, there is nothing other than me at all in the whole universe. Me here is the Chaitanya, the universal consciousness. Let us decipher this verse bit by bit. Samyak vijnanavan. Samyak means perfect, very well. Vijnanavan, man of realization with his perfect realization. Yogi, jnani, sthita prajna, the Atmavit, Brahmavit, the person who knows that he is Brahman. Jiva Brahma Ekatta Drishti, that is called the yogi. Here, yogi is not somebody sitting in Himalayan beaches and with all the hair, matted hair. He may be also Atmajnani, I am not saying. Those physical attire is not required at all. Okay? Then, Swatmani Yeva, in him, his own self, Akhilam, entire, Jagat, universe, Ekam, one, Cha, Sarvam, everything, Atmanam, in his own self. Ikshate, sees. Jnana chakshusha, through the eye of wisdom. Okay? This is the verse here. A yogi of perfect realization and enlightenment sees through his eye of wisdom. That is the Jnana Chakshusha, the entire universe in his own self, and regards everything else in his own self and nothing other than himself. So, this Atma Bodha verse of Adi Shankaracharya, 47, describes the vision of a Jivan Mukta, a liberated sage, a Sthita Prajna, a Jnani, explaining how an enlightened yogi perceives the relationship between the self and the universe and the ultimate reality. The simple meaning here is vision of an enlightened yogi, Samyak Vijnanavan yogi. Samyak Vijnanavan means a perfectly enlightened, a person, Jnani, a yogi who has attained the, without any doubt, steady wisdom of immediate self-realization, does not look at the world through the ordinary physical eye. What we will do, the moment I start my physical eye and the mental way of classifying people, I classify some as friends, some as enemies, some are good, some are bad, because of the ego that is driving my perception, and the mind is projecting all these differences. Once you have conquered the ego and you are beyond the mind, you don't use the mind to classify people, but you have an equanimous look. Instead, this master looks through the eye of wisdom. I told you earlier, there are two things, equality and equanimity. Equality is when you have raga, dvesha, all your krodha emotions, then be stable and neutral. That is equality. That is equanimity. Equality is with everyone. Equanimity is within. Equality is when you look at other side. The eye of wisdom, the jnana chakshusha, here the intuitive eye, it is called the intuitive eye, not the physical eye. The intuitive eye of non-dual realization. Entire universe within self, Swatmani eva akhilam jagat. Through this eye of wisdom, the yogi perceives the entire pluralistic universe as existing within their own true self, Atma itself. Just as a dreamer, upon waking up, realizes the entire vast dream world, the mountains, the oceans, the people, all are actually projected within his own single mind. Yogi sees that the waking world rests entirely within the screen of his pure consciousness. It is no more his consciousness, it is the universal pure consciousness. Seeing everything as oneself. Ekam cha sarvam atmanam ikshate. Ekam cha, as a one entity, sarvam atmanam ikshate. Yogi does not just see the world inside himself. He sees the world is itself he himself. Okay? There is no fundamental dividing line between the observer and the observer. Why this division is normally coming? Because I used my body as a boundary. Anything within me and around me and belonging to me is mine. Anything which is not belonging to me, not belonging to the body, is not mine. And all these emotions start. Now, in jnana, what happens? This body conditioning is totally lost. You don't confine yourself to the body anymore, and you don't identify yourself with the mind at all. Then everything else appears in you, in everything you appear. That is, every object, person, and phenomena is recognized as nothing but a ripple or a wave in a single, undivided ocean of thought. You go to the beach and see the ocean, Bay of Bengal, so many ripples are there, so many waves are there, so much of froth is there. Are they different from the ocean? They are same as the ocean. An Atma Jnani sees the ocean, doesn't bother about the individual differences of the waves. Though he sees the waves, he also perceives the waves. He also enjoys the waves. But he doesn't commit himself as identifying with any one or two waves, but he thinks the entire ocean is himself. The core takeaway from this is, for the enlightened soul, realization does not mean this physical world vanishes. Okay, sir, we have a Jnani in our community. He has attained Atma Jnana. For him, he doesn't see anything at all. The physical world, it is not like that. You continue to see whatever is experienced. Whatever is available, you see. Rather, the perspective changes completely. The delusion of separation is permanently broken. Where an ordinary person sees the world as an endless fragment, differences, limitations, emotions, the realized yogi experiences only the place of one's own infinite self. So this verse, Atma Bodha 47, illustrates how an enlightened individual conducts himself and perceives the reality. Actually, this is the very important part of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. Please explain me about that Jnani who attained the vision, universal vision, how he conducts, he is asking. Similarly, here also, the same Jnani who has attained the universal vision, what will be his perspective? Through the eye of wisdom, a realized yogi understands that the entire universe is not separate from their own inner self. This perspective compares the physical world to a dream, suggesting that all external phenomena are actually projections of the consciousness. Rather than seeing a fragmented reality in the world, the sage, the jnani, recognizes a singular, ekam, undivided existence, connectivity with every object and being. That is called the equality. Equanimity is inside, equality is outside. Ultimately, The source explains the enlightenment transforms one's vision from a state of isolation to a profound realization of universal oneness. Now, the universe within. There are four radical lessons on reality you need to learn from this 1000 or more years old text. What are those lessons? It is remarkably easy to feel small, divided, fragmented, limited. It's very easy to think that you are this limited one. When we stand beneath the cloud, indifferent sprawl of the Milky Way, or navigate the crushing complexities of this modern competitive world, we often feel like isolated observers, tiny, fragile points of consciousness peering out into the vast and overwhelming world. We feel as though we are in the universe as a small speck, struggling to find a footing in a reality that seems entirely external, fundamentally separate from our own self. But ancient wisdom suggests that this essential isolation is actually an optical illusion. The Atma Bodha, a seminal text of the philosopher Saint Adi Shankaracharya, offers a lens that flips this perspective entirely. Specifically, 47 verses is a radical manifesto for the soul, inviting us to stop looking at the world as fragmented and limited and start seeing as one through it. Suppose you stand near a car show. There are beautiful, costly cars are lined inside. The showroom is not yet open to go and examine the cars. What do? You peep through the glass there. The glass is thick, but through the glass you can see the cars. But if the glass is dirty, if the glass is stained, the glass is little cracky and broken, if you focus your mind on the glass, you will never be able to see the valuable things inside. Just like that, similarly, a diamond necklace in a box kept under the glass case, and you go to the showroom, you see the glass alone, there you see all sorts of stains, tea stains, and all that. But the inner precious stone, precious diamond ring is there. If you focus on that, that will be seen. If you focus on the glass only will be seen. Just like your camera, if you focus on the reed in front of you, reed only will be clearly picturized. If you focus on the Himalayan mountain behind, you get the whole panoramic view. So this is a shift in the focus from the individual level to the universal level. By examining the four radical lessons, we must move beyond the limitations of this physical sight and the body and explore a reality where the universe is not a weight pressing down on me, but a vibrant landscape arising from within of me. The eye of wisdom, number one, is a different kind of sight. The text introduces us the eye of wisdom. It is called here as Jnana Chakshusha, the eye of wisdom. This is not a mystical third eye, what you see in Shiva's figures or something. Oh, there is a third eye, it is a mystical, it's not a mystical one. And not a physical organ like your eye, but a state of intuitive, non-dual perception. Jnana Chakshusha. According to this text, Samyak Vijnanavan Yogi, the one who has attained steady and immediate self-realization, perceives reality with such a clarity that the ego-driven mind cannot ever grasp such universal look. Ordinarily, our perception is filtered experience. It is colored by our mind's color. It is colored by doubt, anxiety, and the persistent habit of fragmentation and seeing bit by bit khanda buddhi, fragmented buddhi, instead of the whole universe. We see this, we see that, we see friend, we see foe, we see good, we see bad. We start classifying everything when we see through the colored lens of the mind. But once you make the mind quiet and you go beyond the mind and have a universal look, Samyak Vijnanavan Yogi teaches us that this enlightenment is not a change in what we are looking at. Everything what we are looking at is same. Exactly same. There is no change in the world at all. In fact, you cannot change the world, but a fundamental transformation in how I approach the world, how I envision the world, how I see the world. When we bypass the lens of ego or the mind lens, the eye of wisdom reveals that the divisions are we spend for our whole lives dividing this and that, people, properties, experiences, work. We divide like anything, and we are used to live in this divisive world. Then we then realize, I wasted my entire life with this divided look. And this divided look is merely shadows cast by my limited perspective and limited mind understanding. Now I develop the inner vision or the jnana chakshusha. Now there are no more fragmentation. Everything appears as one universal truth before you. The dreamer and the world. The universe is internal. Perhaps the most jarring shift offered by ancient text is a concept of Swatmani eva akhilam jagat. Swa Atmani eva. Within yourself, you say, see the jagat. The realization that the entire universe exists within yourself. To bridge the gap between this abstract idea, how can the entire world exist in myself? There is a big Himalayas. How can the Himalayas exist in myself? There is a big elephant. You think this is not like that. To bridge the gap between this abstract idea you have and our daily reality, Shankaracharya employs an analogy of dream. Then how can that big elephant came into your mind in the dream? How can you had a dream about the Himalayas? All those things could go into the dream, into the mind. Without there is no physical space, but yet you could perceive. In sleep, your mind creates roaring oceans, towering mountains, complex social dreams. In the heat of the dream, these things feel out there as though they are very real, separate and often threatening and often overwhelming. Yet, the moment you wake, you realize the entire pluralistic world projected by the mind with the singular theater of your own mind. Who is projecting? The mind itself is the projector. Mind is the theater. Atma Bodha suggests our waking world operates on exactly the same principle. From this wakeful world, Jagrat world, if you wake into the Turiya or into the pure conscious state, the entire world you feel, this is like a dream. You are in your childhood also you have sung. Row, row, row a boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, life is but a dream. There itself you are told life is a dream. But you don't realize it. It is as transient as the dream. The yogi perceives the entire pluralistic universe as existing within his own self, just as the entire dream world existed in myself during the dream. This shift provides a profound psychological relief. If the universe is internal, then it is overwhelming nature is neutralized. The container, your own pure consciousness, is inherently larger than, more enduring than the contents. If you have to put something inside, the box that you have chosen should be larger than the one you are going to put inside, isn't it? Then only you can accommodate the object inside the container. So here the container of your pure consciousness is limitless. So it can accommodate everything within. You are no longer a victim of the world. You are the space in which the world happens. You are no more the space in the glass, but you are the space itself which accommodates the glass called you. Okay? The end of me versus them. This is the third lesson. Divide building on the internal universe. The text explores ekam cha sarvam atmanam ikshate. When you say ekam, this is only one. Ekam cha sarvam atmanam ikshate. He perceives the realization that there is no fundamental dividing line between the observer and the observed. Always we have a difference. That is a rose that is being observed. I am the observer. This observer-observed difference is always felt in our day-to-day life. Once you have this jnana chaksha, you dissolve the observer concept and become one. This is beautifully illustrated by the metaphor of wave and ocean. In our standard Monday morning mindset, we see ourselves as individual waves, distinct and separate, big and small, perishing and rising, these waves around us. But this is at the surface level truth. What is the deep reality? A wave does not become an ocean. It is in motion in a rhythmic form temporarily. The wave itself is ocean. Atma Bodha argues that every object and person you encounter is simply a ripple upon the single undivided consciousness called the Atman, the ocean. There is only one Ekam appearing as Sarvam many. Ekam versus Sarvam. Yours is a divided look. There are many things there, so you say Sarvam or Visvam. Then when you have a universal look, there is no Sarvam. There is only Ekam. So shift from Sarvam to Ekam. When we stop seeing the other, always we say the other. What is the other than me? This look you have to cut off and start seeing that everything is within you and you are in everything. Now the fourth one is enlightened does not mean make the world vanish. Many people think that you have to get enlightenment, you have to relinquish everything, lose all the contacts, all the persons you have, all the positions you have, go somewhere in a future tense you get enlightened. No, it's not like that. A common stumbling block in spiritual study is the fear of realization, means the physical world I have to leave, physical possessions I have to leave. There's always the bhaya or the fear that I will be losing all these things if I become realized. That's not like that. Atma Bodha grounds us in a more practical, lived reality. That is, enlightenment is a change in the perspective, in the meaning, not a magical erasure of matter. In fact, you cannot change or erase the matter. Matter and people and experiences will continue to be there, but your perspective entirely changes. The delusion of separation is permanently broken. You are no more separated from anything because everything is you. Where an ordinary person sees a world of endless fragments, differences, limitations, the realized yogi, Jnana Chakrusha, experiences only the play of one infinite bliss, the self. The vibrant, tangible landscape of our lives remains. Coffee still tastes coffee. Mother still is mother. Wife is there. Your properties are not taken away, but your perspective that these belong to you and you are engrossed with them, that categorically changes. Now, what is the conclusion? Atma Bodha 47 verse is a new horizon for yourself. Atma Bodha challenges us to reclaim our vastness and forget our limitedness through four transformative shifts. What are they? I summarize. Cultivating the eye of wisdom to look past the ego filters and mind filters. Understanding the universe is a projection within self, removing its power to overwhelm you. 3. Dissolving the barrier between me and them, the other and mine, through non-dual realization, the wave ocean. Accepting that the world remains, but our relationship to it permanently are healed, not changed. Our relationship with the universal universe and the experiences and people are permanently healed. No more source left. If you take even a fraction of this 1000 plus years old wisdom to the heart, my dears, I promise your daily lives begin to glow with a different light. How might your interactions change today if you reviewed every person you meet, the frustrated driver, the busy clerk, the distant friend, the so called enemy, or the stranger, all as ripples on the same ocean of consciousness which you are. This verse ends. Now I'll go to the next verse. Okay? 48th verse. Atmaivedam jagat sarvam atmano anyanna vidyate mrudo yadvat khatadini swatmanam sarvamikshate. He brings in a very standard example to drive the point. I'll read again. Atmaivedam jagat sarvam atmano anyanna vidyate mrudo yadvat ghatadini swatmanam sarvamikshate. Jagat sarvam, the entire world of plurality, Atma eva idam jagat sarvam. Idam, this, jagat sarvam, the entire world of plurality which you are experiencing, the entire world of plurality which is felt and visible to the untrained eye, that is all Atma eva, Atma only. Atma eva idam jagat sarvam. That is one aspect. Second aspect is na anyat atmano vidyate. There is nothing other than the Atma. Atmanaha, beyond Atman, anyan, the other one, anything else, na vidyate, is not there. One positive statement, one negative. Atma eva idam jagat sarvam. There is nothing other than the Atma. Atmano anyat na vidyate. How? Example, there is a pot, there is a jar, there is a mud plate, there is a cup. So many are made out of mud. Can you show me the mud prepared one separate than the mud? I ask you, bring me a jar of mud jar. So you brought a jar. I asked you to bring a jar. So you brought a jar. And I asked you, why did you bring the jar? You asked me to bring. Okay, now bring the mud. Sir, this is mud only. There is no mud separate. Okay, now you go and bring mud separately other than the jar. How can you? Other than the plate, other than the mud lamp, everything is mrudo yadvat ghatadini. Just as the same mrit, same mud, earth is there in all the ghata, etc. All other objects made up of mud. Svatmanam sarvam ikshate. Atma, the Atman, yeva, verily, idam, this jagat, universe, sarvam, entire. This entire universe is verily Atma only. Atmanaha anyat, other than the Atman, not vidyate, exists. Nothing exists other than the Atma. Just as mrudaha, from clay, yadvat, in the same manner, ghatadini, pots, etc. are made. Swatmanam, one's own self, sarvam, everything, ikshate, sees. Idam sarvam jagat atma eva. The entire universe is Atma only, pure consciousness. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. Idam sarvam brahma khalu. Sarvam kalvidam brahma. Sarvam is the Mahavakya. Sarvam kalvidam brahma khalu. Verily, this entire universe is Brahman. This entire universe is Atma. Atma and Brahma are one and the same. Brahma evedam Vishwamidam Varishtam. Another Upanishad. Brahma eva idam Vishwam. The whole world is nothing but Atma. What does it mean? It exactly like this. Okay. There is a rope snake example where seeing the snake due to your confusion on a rope, you mistook it as a snake. What exactly is there actually? In reality, only rope is there. The snake is only a misinterpretation. Okay, so Jagat is now. The problem is the Shastra says Jagat is Brahman. Who can be that? I have a confusion. Jagat is Savikalpam. It has got so many changes, parts, and then perishing. Brahma is Nirvikalpam, doesn't have these qualities. Jagat is Jadam. It is insentient. Brahman is Chetanam. It's a big difference. Jagat is Anityam, perishable. Brahman is Nityam. When so many differences are there, at the root level itself. So, Savikalpam, Nirvikalpam, Jadam, Chetanam, Anityam, Nityam between Jagat and Brahman. How can you say that everything is Brahman? So many viruddhas are there, so many opposites are there between Brahman and the Jagat. How can Shruti say Jagat is Brahman? The idea is that what one is falsely seeing as Jagat is nothing but factually Brahman. What means Jagat is an error, a superimposition, a kalpana, a swapna, a dream. Sarvam idam Jagat. When you get out of the kalpana or dream, Atma eva, anatma nasti. There is no one single entity which is not Atma, including Lakshman, Chaitanya, other members here. Everybody is Atma only. You only have made a mistake that you are something else other than the Atman. Likewise, everything in the world, your family, friends, possessions, belongings, worldly things, all are nothing but the Brahman. Sarvam idam Brahma kalu. Everything that you see before your eyes, you experience is only Brahman. If Jagat is not there, how do we see the Jagat, the world? There is no Jagat we are seeing other than Brahman. Jagat or Brahman only is there, or Atma only is there. Jagat is not there, we said. Then Jagat is not there, I am seeing the world. How can you say what I am seeing and experiencing? You say it is not there. That is why we do not say Jagat is not there. It is wrong to say Jagat is not there. What we have to say? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jagat is a mithya. It is a projection. It is an illusion. Snake is an illusion. Rope is the reality. Just as rope is the reality, snake is the illusion. And the rope was a rope, is a rope, and will be a rope, whether the snake perception is there or not. If a person says the world is not there, then the question comes, how come I see the world? I'm transacting. Today morning, I gave my bike to my friend. Do you mean to say the bike is not there? My friend is not there? He drove before my eyes. Nobody says the world is not there. World as a real entity is not there. World as a projection. You say it is friend, bike, you. These differences are physical differences, are transactional differences, vyavaharika differences. The absoluteness is that Chaitanya only projects all these things. If the world is there, Shruti can see. Let us say if the world is really there. Really the world is there. Brahman is there. World also is real. Let us assume. This is called Abhyupetavada, assuming non-assumable. What is not right, you assume that the world is permanent. Then how much amount of jnana you cannot remove the sadvastu. You cannot sublate it. You cannot annul it. Okay? And let's say it is not, let's say I want to say Jagat is not there. I'm see, how can you say it is not? So it's absolute Satyatva, truth is not, it's not. And it is absolute non-existence of the world is also not correct. Then what is there? Jagat is a projection. Jagat is a mirage. Jagat is a snake on a rope. Jagat is the mithya. Just like in the swapna. The world is neither non-existent nor existent in the real sense. It is experientially present In reality, in absolute sense, it is not there. Any error is mithya, whether there is a reflected error or a vyavahara. Vyavahara is transactional. World has transactional reality. No doubt about it. World has transactional reality, and Swapna has got pratibhasika reality. That means only at the time of the Swapna you perceive pratibhasa, and after that it disappears. And Atman and Brahman is a paramartha reality. Three planes of realities are there: Vyavaharika reality, transactional reality, Pratibhasika Satyatva, that is the dream Satyatva, and the Paramarthika absolute Satyatva. World has only got transactional reality. Atma, Anatma, Anyat Kinchana na vidyate. Very sweeping statement he make. Anyat Atmanah Anyat na Kinchana vidyate. There is nothing other than the Atma. This means there is no Anatma at all. So we are all the way struggling. I am this body, I am Anatma. Who says this body? You are the body, you are the Atman. And whatever you are seeing as Anatma, it is perishable. It is borrowed existence, and it is changing. How can a changing, perishable, borrowed existence be the absolute reality? Then, why should we talk about Atmanatma Viveka? When there is no Anatma at all in the world, Atmana Anyat na kinchana vidyate. Other than Atma, nothing is there. Then why Atman, Atma, Viveka, all this Atma Bodha? You are not Anatma, you leave it. You are Atma, you grasp it. Why all this teaching? We do so because people are seeing Anatma from the standpoint of the physical world. If you see from the standpoint of the transactional world, every Anatma is there. But Shruti says in the previous verse, Jnana Chakshusha, when you look with a perception of the Jnana from the standpoint of Paramartha, then all the world appears a fantasy. It is a phantom. It is a projection. Let's say a person is seeing a snake upon a rope, and there is another person, Lakshman. He has not seen the snake. He says it is only rope, because he has already clearly seen with torchlight. He is enlightened already. Oh, my dear, where is snake? There is no snake. It's only a rope. It's only rope. I just checked around 15 minutes back with light. That was only a rope. No, the fellow who is confused, who is not yet illuminated, he still feels it is a snake. Do you think the snake is really existing? Yeah, for him, for the confused fellow, it was existing, and it will be existing until the light is shown. But once the light is shown, the Guru comes and gives the Jnana Chakshusha. That means, he teaches you how to look at a Paramartha plane and not look at the Vyavahara plane. Guru doesn't give any special vision or anything. He teaches you how you have to modify your outlook towards the world as a Paramarthika Drishti versus Vyavaharika. Like illuminating with a torchlight is a rope. The moment the torch falls on the rope, we know it is rope. And then the snake, what happened to the snake? Did it go? There is no snake, where it will go? There is no snake at all. That's what we're saying. Atmanam anyat, nothing. Other than the rope, there was no snake at all. Before the illusion, during the illusion, and after the illusion also, the snake is only an appearance. The present rope only is the Satya. Brahma is the Satya in all the kalas. Before you had the illusion, during your illusion, and after your illusion is annulled by your Guru. There is no world, just like the snake. And for that imaginary snake, you say it is black, it is brown, it is 3 feet, it is hissing, it has fangs, it is non-poisonous, it's poisonous. All those classifications you are making. On what? On an imaginary snake. Why do you want to make this sort of imaginary world so many confusing divisions? Similarly, Shruti's vision, there is no scope for Atmanatma Viveka at all. If one is entirely trained and has got the the Jnana Chakshusha, there is no requirement for Atmanatma Viveka. But we are still in the Vyavahara. We have to transcend this outlook of body, and then we have to identify what are all the impurities or differences of this perspective of Vyavahara and ascend to the Paramarthika. Till then, we will have Atma Viveka. Shruti never accepts Anatma really. Mundakopanishad clearly says all tricks are just to accept the contention that negate. What did the person do? Lakshman said, yeah, his friend had an impression, Prabhakar. He had an impression there was a rope, there was a snake. Then Lakshman said, yes, there is a possibility that you have seen a snake, but let us examine. The Guru comes and tells, examine, then brings a light. Here, the light of the Shruti, scriptures. Once the light is shone on this, Prabhakar says, yeah, Lakshman, there is no rope. There is no snake. I was only mistaking this. He understood. So the person trained already knows it is rope, already knows it is Brahman and not the illusory world. And an untrained person sees the snake before he realizes it is rope. Like that only it is. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanataha tatra ko mohaha kasukah ekatvam pashyatah. This is Isha Upanishad. When everything is Atma only, where is the question of one which is not Anatma or not belonging to me? How can I be grieved? How can I be sorrowful? Ko mohaha, where is the illusion? Kasokaha, where is the soka? Like what? Yadvat ghatadini mrudaha. In the mud, there are several pot, jar, plate, several things are made of mud. But in reality, a wise man sees in all of them sarvatra clay darshanam, mrud darshanam, not pot darshanam. Pot is an imposition on the clay. If you take the weight of the pot, do you think pot has a separate weight than the clay? I'll ask you, remove the clay and get me the pot. Can you bring it? It's not possible. Okay? Great superimposition. There are 5 surprising lessons from the clay and pot nature of the reality. Mystery of the snake and rope. We have analyzed this very thoroughly. That means in a dimly lit room, you jumped at the sight of a coiled snake, only to realize a moment later, with a surge of relief, that it was mainly a length of discarded coiled rope. That brief heart-pounding error is more than just a trick. It's not a miracle or a trick or anything. It's a profound entry point into the understanding the architecture of existence. This mistake we repeatedly are committing here. According to the innocent wisdom of Atma Bodha, much of what we perceive as the real world is a similar error of perception. By peeling back these layers of superimposition, we can move past the fractured lens of ego to discover a singular underlying reality, just as when we throw a torchlight, we remove all superimpositions about the snake, all apprehensions about the snake, color, texture, nature, poisons, all that are in one stroke, they are gone. Only the rope is identified clear. Likewise, clay and pot, matter versus form. See, 48th verse of Atma Bodha, we encounter an elegant analogy involving mrid and ghatadini. Mrid is clay, ghatadini, pot, jars, etc. In our daily lives, we treat a pot as a distinct, independent object. You ask anyone, is pot a distinct? Yeah, pot is, it has got utility. You can put water, you can pour some any substance or whatever you want into the pot, and pot is separate. How can the pot be same as a jar? Jar is for a different purpose. Unfortunately, when you analyze, the pot was mud, pot is mud, pot is broken, it pot will be mud. There is no pot other than the mud. Pot is mud only, is temporarily called as pot. The moment you lose it from your hand and drop it, where is the pot? Only clay is remaining. Text suggests that the entire universe functions exactly in the same way. While we are distracted by the staggering variety of forms, names, and divisions, their fundamental substance or saramsha or the essence is the Atma or the self. As pots and jars are verily made up of clay and cannot be said to be anything other than clay, so too to the enlightened souls, all the perceived individuals are nothing but the self. This principle changes the habitual fragmented perception of individual differences between people, objects, and experiences. If a jar is essentially clay, then the universe is essentially self. The pot is something. If the pot is other, to see the pot something other than the clay is to miss the fundamental truth of your being, the logic of superimposition. To understand how we mistake the universe for something it is not, we must look at the contrast between Jagat, the perceived universe, the Brahman, the absolute reality. Jagat acts like the snake, the superimposition. Brahman is the reality like the rope. The source identifies specific attributes that define this contrast. Jagat, Savikalpam, with changes of variety. Jadam, insentient, anityam, temporary. Brahman, nirvikalpam, chetanam, consciousness, nityam, eternal. How can these two things which are poles apart, they can be one? Answer lies in the concept kalpana, imagination, swapna, dream. The world we see is a superimposition, a temporary error laid over the truth called Brahma. Just as the mind projects a snake on a rope, our projection of the mind concentrates on the changing temporary universe and mistakes it to be real when the reality is the Atma. Concept of mithya, middle ground of reality. There are three things can happen. One is absolute reality. Wherever you go, whenever you go, it doesn't change, remains the same. This is called the Paramarthika or absolute reality. That is Brahman, Atman, you are. The other one is one which has never existed at all and has no reality at all. It is called the Asat. Sat, Asat. In between, there is a middle ground which appears to exist but doesn't have a valid existence. That is called Mithya. Okay? Brahma, Satyam. Jagat, middle ground, Mithya. We don't say Jagat Asat. Jagat is there for experience, but it is only an experiential Jagat, transactional Jagat, but not the absolute Jagat. The absoluteness belongs to Brahman. If the world were to be truly existent, that means if it is Sat like the Brahman, you can never negate the true thing. If it is Sat, you cannot negate it. If it is Asat, not there, you don't have to worry about it because it is not there. You don't have to do anything about it. See here, if the world were to be pure Sat, a true existence, absolute existence, then you cannot sublate it, cannot negate it. If the world were to be not there or asat, then you don't have to do anything because what can you do for something which is not there? Then the middle ground. Jagan is mithya. It is neither sat nor asat. The middle ground. It not satya like the Brahman, not asat like something like a rabbit's horn or the castle in the akasha, in the sky. Where is the castle in the akasha? There is no castle. So this is not there. So it is not like that. The world is there in the middle ground, which is apparently present, apparitional reality. transactional reality, vyavahara reality, appearance-wise there, experiential reality, but not absolute reality. The best example is dream. Dream, does it have an absolute reality? No. Do you think the dream doesn't exist? How can you say dream doesn't exist? I have experienced the dream. So it has got an experiential reality. In dream, we call it as pratibhasika reality. In Vyavahara Jagrati, we call it Vyavaharika reality. Both Vyavahara and pratibhasika are projections. And it doesn't have an absolute existence. If it were to be, the dream should be true. I got 20,000 rupees last night in the dream, but when I woke up, nothing is there. Okay? So dream is not real. So dream doesn't have an absolute reality, but dream has a projecting reality. During the period of dream, ask any dreamer, it was as real as a regular world. Likewise, this world of plurality is a big dream. The dream in your last night was few minutes or an hour or so. The dream that you are in is many years, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. You are in the long swapna. Once the jnana comes, you get up from the sleep or slumber of this ignorance of this worldly existence. Then you realize, this is all dream. It appeared as so real. My wife, my children, my possessions, my job, my health, my beautiful body, all are only an appearance. Oh, now I know why the truth. That's the anatma illusion is a teaching tool. So we use anatma as a teaching tool for the students. It is an upaya to say all these are anatmas, my dear. This is atma. You leave them, you get them. At the teaching stage, we require it, but not in the final stage. There is only atman. Everything else is a projection. There is only a rope. There is no snake. So there is only mud. There are no parts and clays other than the mud. What happens when a person finally shifts the vision from the pot to the clay, from the world to the Brahman? The result is ultimate prize of spiritual life. What is the prize of spiritual life? Tatra komoha kasokaha. Where is the grief? Where is the delusion? All vanished. When you realize that the observer and the observed are shining in the same consciousness, ekatvam, oneness is only perceived. All the frictions of life just vanish and melt like ice. This is a beautiful thing that we get. Isavasya Upanishad says the same thing. Tatra ko mohaha kasokaha ekatvam anupashyataha. Closing. Becoming a jnani or knower does not require you to physically become something different or alter physically the world or you to go to a retreat to some place. It requires only a shift in your vision, a simple act of seeing the reality, the rope where you once saw a snake. It is the realization that the variety of parts, colorful parts, big, small, narrow mouth, wide mouth, they never actually changed. All of them are there. The singular reality in them is the clay underlaying. If everything you see today is only a superimposition, what is the underlying Satyatva, the truth that you are missing? Find out. Om आत्मैवेदं जगत् सर्वम् आत्मनो अन्यन्न विद्यते मृदो यद्वत् घटादीनि स्वात्मानं सर्वं ईक्षते. So 47 also we read once again. सम्यक् विज्ञानवान् योगी स्वात्मन्येव अखिलं जगत् एकं च सर्वम् आत्मानम् ईक्षते ज्ञानचक्षुषा. आत्मैवेदं जगत् सर्वम् आत्मनो अन्यन्न विद्यते मृदो यद्वत् घटादीनि स्वात्मानं सर्वं ईक्षते. Now submit the prayer, my dear, Shanti prayer. Then we'll have a few questions.
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
With this, we completed 48 verses. Next week, we take 49 and 50. The PDF of this, the two is already, I will share the PDF, and also I will give you the video also in due course of time. So all of you, I urge you, you go back to the previous things also, look at the PDFs and also understand and consult the video in case you have any doubt about understanding anything. And you can also put in the group any of the questions you have. We'll be too glad to answer to the extent we know.